Penguin Random House Audio presents Out of Your Mind, The Biggest Mysteries of the Human Brain by Jorge Cham and Dwayne Godwin. This is the author, Jorge Cham.
And this is the author, Dwayne Godwin.
Note to listener, this audiobook includes a downloadable PDF which contains selected illustrations and comics from the printed book. For my brother Jaime, one of the smartest and happiest brains I know.
For my wife Marcia, my son Lucas, and my daughter Samantha, my life. Dwayne.
A mindful introduction. A neuroscientist and a cartoonist walk into a sandwich shop. There's no punchline. Dwayne and I were just hungry. That happened 15 years ago, and from this meeting sprang a fun and productive collaboration with a simple proposition. Can we explain the most complex object in the known universe, the brain, using some of the simplest storytelling tools ever created, comics and cartoons? We had no idea whether this could be done. For the brain, we had the intuition that visual storytelling could explain how neurons communicate, how memories are formed and retrieved, and how different parts of the brain are responsible for different functions. We figured comics and cartoons could let us show, as well as tell, how the brain works. I'm not just a cartoonist. For a generation of academics, I am the cartoonist who captured the unique angst and uncertainty of postgraduate life with my Ph.D. comic series, phdcomics.com. Dwayne is a neuroscientist whose research over the last 35 years has ranged from molecules to people and currently focuses on addiction and how soldiers are affected by brain trauma and post-traumatic stress. As it happens, Dwayne is also a big comic book fan. At that meeting, we bonded over our X-Men comics collections. Working together, we found that the brain offered endless possibilities for communicating scientific ideas with comics. We initially published them in the Stanford Design School's magazine, Ambidextrous. One of these comics, on brain development, won the 2009 National Science Foundation Visualization Challenge, also known as the Vizzies. From there, we caught the eye of the magazine Scientific American Mind, where we were regular contributors for many years. We took important topics in neuroscience and translated them into illustrated comics. This fun and stimulating relationship led to the book you are now listening to.
We didn't want to write a textbook or something that seemed like a recitation of facts. We wanted to approach the brain the way we have approached science, with a curious mind. We decided to structure the book around some of the most common questions that people have about the brain. You'll notice that in this book, we focus on very basic questions. What is love? What is hate? Is there free will? That's because deep down, these are the questions that we all ask ourselves at some point in our lives. And grappling with those kinds of questions is really at the heart of this book. There is a temptation with books like this one to portray science as an oracle capable of providing complete answers to important questions about the world. In our view, this approach is one of the reasons people have lost confidence in science over the last few years. It's natural to look to science for answers, but it's also important to understand that science is more than a set of answers. It is a process. It's a means of thinking and using experiments to get as close as you can to the truth. You see, the story of the brain is a story of modern science brought to bear on ourselves. A quest to understand who we are and why we do the things that we do. It's a story that lives at the interface of biology, chemistry, physics, psychology, philosophy, history, and medicine, like no other field of study. It's a story about people. You'll learn about historical figures like patient H.M., an amazing man who lived most of his life without the ability to make new memories. And scientists like Brenda Milner, who studied H.M. and from that work was able to tell apart the different types of memory that we all have. And Phineas Gage, perhaps the most famous brain trauma patient who has ever lived. His tragic accident revealed the complexities of the brain's frontal lobes and how they have a profound influence on our behavior. And underneath this story is a simple premise that the answers to who we are and why we do the things we do lie inside our heads. It's not out there in the cosmos or written in the stars. Who you are comes from out of your mind. Each chapter approaches a different question about the brain with this point of view. We don't always have the answers, but we show you how scientists and scholars over the last few hundred years have tried to understand how our thoughts and actions come from that gelatinous mass in our heads. You also have to be a little out of your mind to try to explain a subject as complicated as the brain in a popular science book. While each chapter is rigorously researched with the most up-to-date information available, it's possible we miss some things. It's important to know that we don't believe the answers provided here are the final answers to any of the big questions, but they are what we consider our current best knowledge. Our highest hope is that this book somehow changes you. It certainly changed us. It's hard to take a deep dive into subjects like love, happiness, and death without some major reflection on our own lives. At the very least, we hope it makes you think about how your thoughts, actions, and feelings are tied together and how they shape and guide your life.
And who knows, perhaps this book will inspire some of you to be a more informed brain user, or even to be part of the next generation of brain explorers who seek a deeper understanding of how the brain works. The next great insight into our amazing brains might even come out of your mind. Jorge Cham, that's me.
And Dwayne Godwin. Chapter 1. Where is the mind? Where are you right now? Maybe you're at home at a particular street address. Or maybe you're on vacation, lounging on a nice sunny beach. Perhaps you're commuting, listening to this on your way to work. And if you look around, you probably feel pretty confident you know where you are. But a more interesting question to ask is, where is the real you? Not your body, but the you that you identify as yourself, your mind. The combination of your hopes and dreams and thoughts and memories and best and worst qualities. The sum total of your hang-ups, tastes, convictions, emotions, and instincts. Where does the concept of you as a person, the thing that makes you a human being, reside within the boundaries of your body? The answer at first seems pretty simple. It's mostly in your head. If there's one thing that science has figured out, it's that the brain is the epicenter of your conscious being. It is the command module, the director, the vault that processes and stores, at least temporarily, every waking moment of your life. You might think that containing something as complex and profound as a person, with a capital P, would be hard to do in a mere 3 pounds of gelatinous goop. By volume, your brain is about the same size as a 1-liter bottle of soda. It would seem impossible to fit everything that makes up a human inside such a relatively small thing. After all, it is what the brain holds that has allowed humans to surpass all other species on the planet, decipher many of the mathematical laws of the universe, and peer to the very edge of the universe. How can something that is mostly water, 75%, contain such power? But the brain is a mighty machine. It almost defies comprehension in its complexity. Though it's not much to look at, it contains over 86 billion tiny processing units called neurons, each one talking to tens of thousands of other neurons through intricate and ever-changing connections that adapt and learn as information from the outside world rushes in every day. It is simultaneously the most complex thing we have ever encountered
Sample complete. Ready to continue?